Hi everyone, Comic Reviewer here. This time reviewing on Tarzan and Jane. Now, as you know, Tarzan and Jane is a 2002 animated adventure comedy film that was meant to be a direct-to-video spin-off to the 1999 film Tarzan, as well as kind of being a bit like a sort of final towards the Legend of Tarzan. And keep in mind, the Legend of Tarzan lasted from 2001 all the way to February 2003. From September the 3rd all the way to February the 5th on 2003. And Tarzan and Jane is basically using three episodes from the final season. And I think the way I do see Tarzan and Jane is a bit like a final and showing where the characters are now, showing that their adventures are now coming to an end, and how basically where they are then and now. So the premise of the film is meant to follow how Jane wants to do something nice for her and Tarzan's anniversary, and it's been 1 year since the events of the film as well as the TV series. And we do kind of see how Turk and Tentle and even the Professor bring up moments from past episodes. And these were basically unaired at the time. And the thing is, you can easily watch them now on YouTube on Disney Plus. So the premise is meant to follow how, each episode is meant to start off with how the characters remember it. Like the first one being how Jane's friends basically come to sort of save her when she thinks she's been taken by Tarzan. And we do kind of see how Jane goes back to her old roots, only to kind of be back in her new element when the situation called for it. And the second story is meant to feature how basically there's some sort of shady guys wanting diamonds, and we see how Tarzan wants to get one for Jane. And the final story is basically about an old friend from Jane who's revealed to be a secret agent. And we kind of see how characters sort of remember the events, and we do kind of see how Jane wonders how she's going to make this work. And I think for the way as a final, it's not too bad. And I think it kind of reminds me of watching the Simpson Flashback episodes, because I think what kind of made the episode where the Simpsons remembered past relationships, it was meant to show where the Simpsons were then and now. And it's like the musical ones, showing all the histories of what they did during the whole musical stories. And I think it's like Stormy Weather too, where we kind of see how Marinette, Adrian, Gabriel, and the other characters are mentioning if they're doing the right things, what they've done right, what they've done wrong, and so on. And I think really it feels like a good final. It kind of feels like everything is wrapped up. We kind of see how, some of the characters have basically had their stories or adventures. And I think the way I do see the final scene is kind of reminds me a bit like watching episode 6 of Star Wars, where we saw how Luke would eventually bring back the Jedi Order. We kind of saw where characters were then and now. I just think the sequels kind of butchered what was intended for the original timeline. But here it makes sense because in a way Tarzan and Jane's adventures had came to an end. So I think in a way it wraps itself up perfectly. And it's like looking at Ed and Eddie's Big Picture show. We do kind of see the Eds finally get accepted. We see Eddie realise his mistakes. And I think really the point about doing a big final is basically wrapping things up, but also giving it a good send-off, showing where the characters are then, where they are now, and sort of having the message that life moves on, but there will be other stories. There will be other adventures. So I think in a way, Tarzan and Jane is an okay final to the TV show. I think it wraps things up, it shows you where characters are then and now, and I think in a way, it wraps itself up perfectly. So I think this film definitely deserves a thumbs up. Still good and still alright. So, Comic Reviewer here, signing out.